My name's Adam, the developer of Hammer, and today we're going to be going over the changes in version 3.7.0. This was a smaller release for the clients. The main new feature, if you go to your encyclopedia, you could always click on a tag down here to filter by it, but now it's integrated with the search box. And this is how most of the other search boxes worked, so I really just unified how search boxes work. Now I can start typing by tag, and then I can continue to filter by plain text. So it's a small change, but now all of the search boxes work the same way, and so it's pretty nice. One other change, if you do Control Shift Q, it quits, and that isn't new, but if you do that in the project selection window, one moment, it also works. Control Shift Q kills it. So a little more shortcut nicety. Also, we don't collect crash analytics, and that's part of how I think things should work. I don't think automatic crash reporting is very conducive with privacy, but that does mean that it's much more difficult to track down crashes when they happen on users' machines and I'm not able to reproduce it locally. So now the logs will include stack traces, which are critical in diagnosing crashes. So if you hit a crash and you choose to help us debug it, you can share your logs with us and they will include the stack traces, and that should be incredibly helpful. The rest of this was really all about the sync server. It's nothing terribly huge, but I developed the client first and the server very much came later. And so it's been a little bit of the redheaded stepchild of the project until recently. So the first thing is I disabled HTTP. This is the insecure plain text protocol that's really going away. There's so many things in the web ecosystem that are discouraging this now. Android and iOS both heavily discourage the use of plain text connections by apps. And so this removes the option. The apps now can only connect to servers over secure HTTPS connections. If you use Hammer.Inc., it's already working that way. But this just simplifies it. If you are a server admin and you were using HTTP before, you will need to update that. I also improved a lot of very minor things that the rest of the web cares about, like page load times and caching and all sorts of search engine discovery. And this is an important topic, I think. AI is obviously on everyone's mind, and it's a complex topic for another video. But a couple versions ago, I updated the robots.txt. And I think as authors, if we publish a story, we want people to read it. And search engines have always been an important way for people to find content online. So our robots.txt explicitly allow search engines, but they explicitly disallow AI training agents. And I think at the moment anyway, this is a good compromise and should allow us to get our content out to people who care about it while not feeding the beast. Other small things like a site auto-generated sitemap and things like that should help search engines discover the content that is published on Hammer instances. And this is still completely optional. You can use the sync server and never publish anything. You can use the sync server and only publish privately to your friends. This only affects stories that are published publicly in the community. Let's see. Some smaller things like if you're viewing your read counts, how many people have read your story, that should be a little more accurate. There's times when a search engine crawler would hit a story page and it would count as a read, and we didn't really want that. So I have some heuristics to filter that out now. On Hammer.Inc. specifically, we're starting to get a couple more users, a couple now and then, once a week or so, and it's important that we, both myself and the people who are paying to use Hammer.Inc. all understand what we're doing here. So I now have a pretty clear privacy policy, which I think is short. It's not full of legalese, and terms of service, which is again trying to protect myself, but also you and your data. Plainly states that I don't have any ownership over your data. You entirely retain it, on and on. So nothing brand new here, but just making the rules of the road clear. Other than that, I fixed a couple crashes in the text editor, and that's pretty much it. This was a small release, and it's really just gearing Hammer servers to be better citizens of the web. Oh, I forgot. You also have rich previews now. You have to enable it if you're a server admin. It's not enabled by default because you have to install some extra libraries, but will dynamically generate some prettier images for your links and a bunch of metadata. So when you're sharing this in chats or maybe you share it on social media, those social media apps look for some richer extra metadata, which we now provide, and that'll allow your posts to have more reach if you're trying to get the word out there about your story or all of your stories. So that's pretty much it. I hope you find it useful, and if you have any suggestions or you find any bugs, please come to our Discord and let me know. Thanks. Happy writing.